The Flying Fish Festival of Orchid Island. The Da'u observe many traditions during the Flying Fish Festival season. Before they are allowed to begin fishing, fishermen must make sacrifices to the ocean gods. Either a pig or chicken is killed near the water as an offering. In return, the Da'u hope for generous catches. Then, the Da'u's carefully decorated fishing boats set sail in complex ceremonies. The Da'u take taboos related to the festival season seriously. Flying fish must be prepared in very specific ways. For example, it must be cooked whole, and it can't be eaten if it was dried upside down. Also, during the festival, people must not throw stones into the ocean, and they shouldn't use swear words. Although it may seem like a modern idea, environmental awareness has been a part of Da'u culture for centuries. The high and low fishing seasons allow sea life populations to naturally replenish each year. Also, during the fishing season, fishermen can only enter the ocean to collect resources once a day. Such practices allow the Da'u to live in a sustainable manner. This is something the rest of the world could learn from.
Hello everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
I'm Chickling.
And we are here again today looking at the wonderful Dao people on beautiful Orchid Island in Taiwan and their very interesting, special, and important relationship with the ocean, flying fish that they get from the ocean, and of course nature in general. We learned that the Dao have a flying fish festival every year. It's usually in the spring months, right around now, at the beginning of the flying fish season. When the fish are going by, the fishing is good, it's time to get out there and collect fish for food for not just the summer months, but also probably into the winter. And as tourists, we can go and we can learn lots of interesting things and watch these people do their rituals and follow their traditions and beliefs. And you would like to go?
Yeah, really.
I would
Maybe
too.
next year.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
It's
why not?
about to be... No, it's actually 2024.
It might be a little late now for this year, but you can
yeah,
plan the trip for next year.
Maybe I should.
That would be a good idea. Anyway, let's get to our article and learn more about it. So we begin today. The Dao observe many traditions during the flying fish festival season. This is an important cultural, religious time for them. So of course they observe many different rituals and things like that. To observe is basically to pay attention, but also to sort of follow the rules of the culture. We follow rules if we're observing the rules. That means we do what the rules say. If we observe traditions, that means we do what the traditions say. It might not be a rule, but if you're observing the traditions of a typical Western wedding, the bride will wear a white dress, the bride and groom will exchange gold rings, they'll put them on a certain finger, you'll have it in a church, the words in the church, the prayers will all be a certain way. So it's basically to follow the rules or to do the tradition as most people would expect it. Most people have done it in the past. Here we have another way of using observe. When driving, you must observe the traffic signs and rules at all times. So of course you can observe things by watching them, by looking at them, but also by following the rules. And please do both when you're driving on the road.
Observe 就是遵守的意思，不过这是在文章的意思哦。我们另外还可以当观察的意思，比如说 they carefully observe the behavior of deer。所以达悟族呢，在飞鱼季期间遵守了许多的传统哦。
So they're watching the deer, they're not following the rules of being a deer. That would be weird for people. All right, back to the article. Before they are allowed to begin fishing, fishermen must make sacrifices to the ocean gods. Cool.
Okay.
All right, so before they're allowed to actually get in their boats with their nets and all their other fishing gear to start taking fish from the ocean, taking fish from nature, the fishermen must make sacrifices to the ocean gods. This is kind of, you see this in a lot of religions, right? People here burn ghost money for their relatives, or you might leave things in a temple as an offering or as a sacrifice. So this is kind of like, hey God, here I'm giving you stuff. So in the future, I can get stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Please, thank you, God, please. That's the kind of thing we're doing here.
所以 sacrifice 就是这边是指祭品的意思啦，所以就是献给这个大海。所以在允许开始捕鱼，他们就要先跟海神献祭。So
exactly.
what do we use for that?
Well, that's a very good question. It wouldn't be fish, because that would be weird. I'm taking fish to give you back some fish. No, God doesn't want fish. The ocean God has enough fish. Thank you very much. I am the God of the ocean. I don't want any fish. I'm sick of fish. I'm surrounded by the wet things. So what do they offer? They offer something they might think the ocean God might not have. Good idea. Either a pig or chicken is killed near the water as an offering. Imagine being the ocean god and you can smell the fried chicken on the beach, but you're stuck in the water. So they're smart and they're like, hey God, here you go. Here's a burger, here's some chicken, here's a nice piece of bacon or something like that. And they leave it by the water as an offering, as a gift, in other words, to the gods. What a cool idea.
所以不是猪就是鸡啊。那这边是不是看到 either pig or chicken？所以我们就是昨天讲到 language and focus 的用法嘛，所以就是鸡或猪当成祭品的意思。
In return, so after this gift, this sacrifice, in return, the Tao hope for generous catches. Exactly right. So there we are. We've offered up a beautiful big pig for the gods, and then we hope that the next few months of fishing will be very generous. In other words, we'll catch lots of fish and not just a few. Then the Tao's carefully decorated fishing boats set sail in complex ceremonies. This might be the throwing the boats around while wearing their little clothes. So this might be that part of it. And of course, yes, the fishing boats will probably also want those to be blessed as well, right? Many fishermen around the world in all types of cultures and religions will bless their boats. Their boats keep them alive, keep them safe, give them a job out there on the ocean. And sometimes these ceremonies, these rituals can be complex. We're going to talk about a couple of these words right now. All right, a sentence ago, we saw the phrase generous catches. That's what the fishermen are hoping for. As I said, generous is a lot. Basically, that's what we're talking about. If you're a generous person, you give your friends a lot of what you have, more than they might expect. All right, so a generous person might spend a lot on another friend's birthday gift. We can also hope for generous amounts of something. If a person is giving you food and you're really hungry, you might hope they give you a generous plate of food, a lot more food than you might expect. If your boss is very generous, that means you might get paid more or get special gifts or things like that. So generous is basically more than you'd expect, more than you need, more than you might ask for. In other words, being very kind with things that you give away. For example, after working really hard at her job for 5 years, Clara's boss gave her a generous bonus. She might have been expecting a small bonus. He gave her a big bonus, more than she expected. She, of course, is a very happy person, I'm sure.
In return 就是作为交换嘛，那这边 generous 就是很丰厚的，那它的名词就是 generosity， 很慷慨、很大方。比如说 their generosity made a lasting impression on me，因为他们太大方了，我就觉得哇，印象好深刻哦。所以作为献祭的回报呢，达悟族当然希望可以钓到非常多的鱼哦。
All right, so the Tao are hoping for generous catches and the rituals that they do, the ways they show the gods their love and appreciation. Some of those rituals are quite complex. When we see this word complex, we're thinking complicated. It's not simple, it's not basic, it's not just 1, 2, 3, we're done. No, it's much more than that. It might be hard to understand, it might be hard to learn, or maybe there's just many, many steps. If there's a complex ritual, we probably won't be done in 10 minutes. It could be like a 4-hour thing where we have to do every single little step. So complex is generally complicated, having many parts, and or hard to understand, not simple and basic and something like that. For example, compared to checkers, chess is a very complex board game. It's very complicated, many more rules, much harder to become good at.
Yeah, 所以 ceremony 就是典礼 ，set sail 就是去起航嘛。所以达悟人精心装饰的渔船，你知道他们的那个 boat 啊，那个渔船都很漂亮，所以在复杂仪式中就起航了。
All right, the Tao take taboos related to the festival season seriously. All right, so these are traditional people, religious people. They have a lot of beliefs and a lot of taboos. A taboo is basically a big no-no. You do not do this. It could be like a rule, but it's probably more like a cultural rule. The kind of thing that people just understand and go, you don't do that sort of thing. That's a taboo.
Taboo，OK，所以达悟族呢，他们是重视这个跟节庆有关的禁忌哦。其实，在东方 ，in the East, we have a lot of taboos.
Okay.
Maybe in the West too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those superstitions, right?
Yeah.
Having a 4th floor in a hospital might be a taboo here. The number 13 might have taboos around it in the West. And a lot of these came before laws. A lot of our taboos now are laws, right? Driving while you're drunk, that is against the law. Before it might not have been, but it was still a taboo. It was still like, oh, don't do that. That's only what bad people do, that kind of thing. But of course, many of them are now laws. Back to the article, flying fish must be prepared in very specific ways. Wow, so the taboos are not just about the rituals and ceremonies, it's even about after they catch the fish, they're preparing them. They're getting them ready to cook and to eat, and you have to prepare them in very specific ways. Again, religions, right? Jewish people have very specific ways they have to prepare certain types of meat or certain types of dairy products and things like that. Specific meaning very precise and careful, just one way, not any other way. When we use specific, we're usually talking about a certain thing in a group and how that thing is the only one we're really talking about here. Okay, so one specific way of doing it is one very precise way. You could do it other ways, but we're only talking about this way. We can often use this to separate one thing from a group. I've seen a lot of the Marvel movies, but not this specific one. I haven't seen this exact one, Doctor Strange Part 2. I haven't seen that, but I've seen other ones. I've seen a lot of the other ones, but this specific one, this exact one, only this one, maybe not. For example, we could say this fish is really delicious. Do you know what specific kind it is? Because there's a lot of delicious fish. If it's on my plate and it's cooked, I might not know, but I'd like to know, is it salmon? Is it tuna? Is it carp? Is it this, that? I'd like to know the name of this type of fish and not the other ones because I don't care about those now.
OK， 所以我们这个字 specific 就是特定的或特有的，当然我们指确切的或者是具体。有些人讲话不清不楚的，人家不懂嘛，我们就会说，Could you be more specific about what you're looking for？ 你可不可以讲清楚一点，不然听不太懂哦。所以飞鱼呢，它就是飞鱼必须以特定的方式来准备，不是随随便便就可以去准备它的。
Yeah, if you go to a store, you say, hey, I'm looking to buy a new thing.
What thing?
I'd like to buy a thing for my friend for his birthday. I'd like to really get a nice thing.
Could you be more specific?
I need to be more specific. Yeah, I need to be more precise about what I'm looking for. All right, back to the article. For example, these are some of the specific ways you should prepare your food according to the Tao beliefs. For example, the flying fish, it must be cooked whole and it can't be eaten if it was dried upside down.
What?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be a reason for that. The blood collects in the head and it's not good for you. I don't know. But anyways, so there's certain ways to prepare flying fish. You, of course, can prepare them any way you want, but a Tao person might look at you and go, no, honey, you don't do that with if you're cutting it up and, frying it in little pieces, that kind of thing. Again, it's totally fine, but it would be not the way the Tao people would do it.
这要怎么准备呢？你要整只下去煮哦，那不可以切就对了。但是而且风干的方向如果是颠倒，那就不可以吃了。
Also, during the festival, people must not throw stones into the ocean. Interesting. And they shouldn't use swear words. Okay, well, again, if your God lives in the ocean, I could understand don't throw stones. I mean, if you're in a Buddhist temple or a Christian church and you're throwing rocks around, someone is going to go, hey, stop that. What are you doing? And also, if you're in God's house, a temple, a church, or near the ocean, you don't say bad words, right? This is something you'll get in trouble for. Many religions have rules against, swearing around a temple or a church or another holy place. To swear is to say, a bad word. If you're angry, if you're upset, if you're, just talking with your friends in a very casual way, you might swear or say a bad word. That might be okay. And of course, we see people swearing in movies or, when they're playing sports, if they miss a shot or something.
Yeah.
But you also understand that there are many other places you can't talk like that, at work, at school, with your family, to the police, for example. So don't swear when it's just not okay, when you're not in a very casual, friendly environment. For example, it doesn't matter if he was upset. The next time Vern swears at the referee, he'll be kicked out of the game and off of the basketball team. I think swearing at a referee will get you in big trouble. Yeah, that makes sense.
我们来看一下 swear。Swear 这边是指诅咒或者是骂脏话的意思，那它的三态是 swear, swore, sworn。那么所以脏话这边当名词就是 swear word 或者是咒骂语。不过我们 swear 也可以当发誓的意思哦，比如说 I swear I won't tell anyone your secret。我绝对不会跟别人讲你的秘密的，请放心。所以另外呢，在这个飞鱼季期间，人们不可以向海里面丢石头哦，也不可以骂脏话。
All right, back to the article. It says, although it may seem like a modern idea, environmental awareness has been a part of Tao culture for centuries. Yes, Aboriginal groups have been taking care of the planet Earth really, really well for tens of thousands of years. Whereas we modern people with factories and machines and giant fishing boats and whatnot, we've been doing bad things to the environment for the past 100 years or so, and now we're all in big trouble. So of course, yes, if you live on an island and you live off the fish in the ocean, it's a good idea to take care of those fish and not just catch as many as you can and go, well, what we'll eat next year? I don't know. Who cares? No, you have to care for it because the ocean cares for you, so you need to care for it.
所以我们就知道说，其实这几个世纪以来，环保意识也是达悟文化的一部分，他们是很注重环境环保的。
So of course, during those months, I think it was February or March to July, August,
and September.
Something like that. That's when they're doing all their fishing. That would be the high season. The high and low fishing seasons, the winter when they don't fish, allow sea life populations to naturally replenish each year. So when there's a lot of fish in the ocean, they take a few of them. When there's not so many, they leave them alone, let them have their babies, and recreate more fish for next year. And then they'll never run out. What a wonderfully simple and intelligent way of doing things.
那这个字 replenish 指的就是补充，不过 I think it's a more formal way to say it. 所以捕捞旺季跟淡季就会让这个海洋的生物种群种类呢，每年都可以自然的补充。
Also, we read during the fishing season, fishermen can only enter the ocean to collect resources once a day. This is avoiding the modern problem of overfishing, taking too many fish out and not giving the oceans time to get the numbers to replenish those numbers. So the rule is, again, only go fishing once a day. That means everyone won't take too much.
而且捕鱼季节，大家渔民啊，他们只能进入海洋采集一次资源。
Such practices allow the Tao to live in a sustainable manner. Brilliant. This is something the rest of the world could learn from. I want to change that. This is something the rest of the world should learn from. We could, but we should, definitely. Yes. A manner is a way or fashion of doing something. There's lots of ways to do things, but the manner in which you do it, that's the way you do it. You pick a certain way of doing it, that is the manner. There could be others, but this is the one you're using or going with now. For example, I really don't think you should talk to your sister in that manner. I think you hurt her feelings. It might have been in an angry and uncaring kind of manner or way.
所以这边的 manner 是方法的意思，可是如果你加上一个 s 变成 manners， 可以指一个人的风度或者是礼仪。比如说 ，it is bad manners to speak with your mouth full。吃东西的时候不要一直讲话。那么刚刚的 sustainable 指的就是永续发展，所以这一些实践呢，就可以让达悟族以永续的方式继续生活下去，也是世界其他国家应该学习的地方哦。
All right, we have a chat question before we wrap things up, so let's take a look. Are there any taboos during festivals in your culture?
Have you heard of the Ghost Festival?
I have. Many taboos.
So many taboos.
Right.
Like don't tap on a person's shoulders at 12 a.m.
That's a taboo I've never heard of before.
Yeah, because if you tap on the person's shoulder, that we have 3 fires. 1 fire here up around your head, and we have 2 more on the shoulders. So if you tap it, the fire will go out, and then that's bad for us.
Definitely, but having fire on your head would also seem to be bad for you. Interesting. But swimming, right? That's a taboo.
Yeah, swimming.
Pointing at the moon, is that the same time?
Oh, I think it's that's for the Moon Festival.
Oh, Moon Festival. Whistling also.
Oh, yeah, you know more than I do.
Well, I like to walk around pointing at the moon. I just do that because I live crazy.
Okay.
No, you should always learn about the taboos. Doesn't mean you have to follow them, but it's good to know the taboos and beliefs of the place that you live. Thanks for joining us, guys. Maybe we'll see you out there on the beach, throwing boats around, praising the ocean gods, and enjoying some wonderful flying fish prepared in the right way. I can't wait to visit the island. Take care, everyone. We'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye. Vocabulary Review.
Observe. In class, it's important to observe the teacher's rules, like raising your hand before speaking. Generous. Jimmy put a generous amount of soap in his hands and then washed his face. Complex. Complex. I love that authors' complex stories. They're full of interesting details, though sometimes they're difficult to understand. Specific. This language is specific to a small island near Scotland, where people have spoken it for thousands of years. Swear. I heard the angry driver swear at another driver who tried to change into his lane too quickly. Manner. My brother has a funny manner of telling stories. He always adds silly voices for each character.
智慧小补帖
Sacrifice. Ceremony. Taboo. Taboo. Replenish. Sustainable.